Hey guys, Little Furball here with my thoughts on the E3 press conferences this year. Now, I've just noticed that there's some weird stuff in my frame there. Just ignore that. I actually know what that is. But, yeah, so pretty much, first things first, E3 this year, the press conferences overall were honestly kind of crap. Um, there honestly wasn't as much announced as I'd hoped. I'm going to say that now. There wasn't as much. I do have my notes here on my personal screen. I've also got the notes from last year, which I was meant to do this again, but I don't think I ever actually uploaded the videos. Like, this is going to be one video, so... first of all, I'm only going to do the ones that I watched through the NerdCube stream, because I believe there was a Square Enix one that I missed because I was still at work, and a Kodokawa stream, which NerdCube didn't cover, but that was at like half five in the morning British time. So, there's kind of, you know, weird crap here. Can I edit that? It's not going to edit during the middle way, oh well. But yeah, so pretty much what it was, I'm going to do these in order. So the first one was EA. So far they've announced Titanfall 2 with a single player mode, which means I might not play it, and it's out on the October 28th of this year. Now I'm looking at the notes for EA last year, which means this was a new... Yep, that is a new title release. So, yeah. After that, what they announced was sports. Now, honestly, I'm going to give my opinions as how I feel the games. If you feel differently, then fair enough. These are my opinions on these games, but it's gotten to the point where I don't think EA needs to announce the sports games anymore, because it's taken as dread that they're coming out every year. Honestly, it would be good if they just kind of stopped. And they announced that they're doing Pro Leagues as well. It's not news. There's been pro gaming circuits for like StarCraft and that forever. The fact that they're moving it into like Madden and NFL and stuff kind of doesn't surprise me. The next one was Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, I was looking at the notes for last year, so this isn't a new announcement. So we already knew that was coming. And then they announced more sports again, but they announced it. The way they announced this FIFA game makes it look like it has a story mode and it has a storyline behind it, which for a FIFA game is a tad odd. But, what you gonna do? Once again, it's a FIFA game, I'm probably not gonna play it. Then they announced EA Originals, but then the one that they showed was one called Fe, just Fe. It looks actually kind of cute, but it's kind of hard to explain. It's... Imagine Limbo meets Ori and the Blind Forest. It was kind of that aesthetic that I got from it. It did look pretty good, but so far there's one game in the EA thing that I care about now. Because the Titanfall one, eh. Star Wars Battlefront has an update to include stuff from The Force Awakens. You'd think it would have that already, but hey. Some stuff on Galaxy Heroes, which is their mobile one, and Knights of the Old Republic. And when they showed this clip, now I've got some more information on this because it was announced later because of which one it was. They were showing, oh, this is what we're doing, and there was someone in the video wearing a PSVR headset. Now, I found out what that was, but at this point I'm just like, oh, they're doing something Star Warsy with VR. What could it be? So that kind of interested me. And then there's the last one, which was the confusing one. Battlefield 1. Now, it's called Battlefield 1 because it's set in World War 1. But they've kind of went the weird route of no, because if you've got Battlefield 4 putting it into Battlefield 1, that's confusing. You should have called it Battlefield the Great War or something. So, there's that. Also, it does say... No, that's Battlefront. Yeah, believe it or not, there actually wasn't a lot announced. Like, the update for Battlefront, we already knew Battlefront was coming when it came out, so... there was only... what's that? 2 new things being announced there? Well, 3. Battlefield, I suppose. But one game there that I might care about. So EA, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 notes I've got there, they scored 1 out of 9. I'll say 10 because it's easier just to round up. So 1 out of 10. Eh. Next up, Bethesda's. Now this is the one I was looking forward to because I do like Bethesda games. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Skyrim, Fallout, Oblivion, Morrowind, Doom as well. I'm a big fan of Doom, and I have fond memories of me and my friends hacking the network at my local school so we could play Quake 2 Arena over it, which is also an id Software Bethesda game, which is quite funny. But anyway, what they announced was Dishonored 2. This is not a new title, obviously, because it was announced last year as well. But we now have the release date of November 11th this year. So, that's good. I'm trying to think, there's something... What is November 11th? November 11th is supposed to be... It was something big, and I can't remember what it was. But it says, oh, you're set in this dystopian steampunk world. And I went, yeah, no. Because everything's powered by whale oil, not steam. That's not... Technically, that's not steampunk. I can kind of see where they're coming from, where they would say it's steampunk, but technically, surely steampunk would be powered by, well, steam, not the burning of whale oil, which I would say is closer to diesel punk, but it's really not, because diesel punk's something different as well. I don't know what Dishonored is. It's some weird cross between steampunk and diesel punk, I would say. No, I could be completely wrong about that, but eh. Anyway, the thing is, the next one, they announced something called Quake Champions, which is a new Quake game. Do you remember how I said I had fond memories of school playing Quake? Yeah, so actually that is one that I am looking forward to. And this one is a new announcement. Because I always thought, well, the Doom multiplayer is reminiscent of Quake. Now they're making actual Quake. TSO Legends, the Elder Scrolls Legends. They've announced more on this. I've seen some... Now, last year I'd put in my notes, it's just fucking Hearthstone. But when I actually saw some gameplay footage of it, which wasn't on E3 this year, it was something TB done on his channel, it does actually look quite different. It does look unique to Hearthstone, so now maybe, yeah. And then there was the Fallout 4 DLCs, which is contraptions, which you can build like Rube Goldberg machines and stuff. There's one where you can build your own vault, which is very interesting, because like there's build your own settlement, and there's building your own vault. That's something big. And then there's the Nuka World one. Now, it kind of pisses me off that I haven't bought the Season Pass at this point, to be honest, because I still have to get Far Harbor. I only have Automatron and Wasteland Survival. I don't have Far Harbor yet, so that's kind of annoying. Then there was some update shit for Fallout Shelter, which I don't care about. Now, this was the one that annoyed me. There was a lot of leaks beforehand, before the E3 conference that they were doing, was, oh, they're going to announce Elder Scrolls 6, they're going to announce Valenwood. No, it turns out what they were announcing was Skyrim Remastered for the next-gen consoles, so we're just getting Skyrim again. Like, literally, we're just getting Skyrim again, just with fancier graphics. But also with mod support for the consoles, which is quite good. Because obviously I haven't done Skyrim on the channel. I'll probably do it once the remaster comes out, and I'll obviously clear out all the mods I have to do a vanilla one to start with, because obviously you kind of want a... This is what the basic game looks like. I don't want to do it with mods, because I have a lot of graphical mods that's probably up it to what it would be. But unfortunately it wasn't the Elder Scrolls 6, which they said it was going to be Valenwood. Now, obviously, I guarantee you the people at Bethesda aren't listening to me, but please, if you're making the Elder Scrolls 6, set it in Elsewhere or Blackmarsh. Please do an Elder Scrolls game in there that isn't Elder Scrolls Online. Hell, if you want, do a Elder Scrolls game offline where you can explore the whole of Tamriel. Then they announced Prey. Now, I can't remember a lot about Prey because this was at 3 in the morning, not this morning the time of recording it, the day before, and I was quite heavily drunk at this point. So, in fact, I actually broke my keyboard because I spilled whiskey on it, and I'm now using my backup board. So, I don't know a lot of it, but it's a new IP, which is good, because that means, ooh, something that's interesting from the company that I like. So, there's that. And then this is where you could tell I was drunk, because in my notes I've just went doom, 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 and then it looks like I headbutted my keyboard. And they're announcing DLC for it. It was now I couldn't quite hear it because obviously I was listening to the Nerd2 stream. The either said Into the Void or Into the Evil. So yeah, DLC for Doom. I keep putting TSO. I don't know what TSO is because TES is the Elder Scrolls, but it's Elder Scrolls Online. Is going to be in more countries. It's going to have Dark Brotherhood DLC, and they announced something called One Tamriel, which is after you've done the tutorial. You're not like locked to an area until you're a certain level. You can just explore wherever you want in Tamriel. Except you can't, because I'm pretty sure they still haven't announced the whole of Tamriel in the Elder Scrolls. That's the thing that bugs me. But yeah. And then they announced VR in Doom and VR in Fallout 4. Now, I'm not entirely sure how that would work, but I want it in the PSVR or nothing, because my computer can't handle an Oculus, and it sure as hell can't handle the Vive. As the Oculus thing says, I need a new processor and a new graphics card. The HTC Vive says I only need a new graphics card, but I physically don't have the space in this room for a Vive, because my working space would be, well, there's my wardrobe, there's my bed, you know, you can see the space that I've got in camera. It's literally, I can't stretch out my arms. I can stretch out that arm fully, but it's over my bed, so, like, the Oculus would be the best thing. Now, I need to check again, because my processor isn't a low-end processor, it's a big, bulky processor. But, it's kind of, it's an AMD one, and I don't think Oculus likes AMD, so, unfortunately, there's that. But the next one we have after that, so overall, let's see now, Bethesda, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, they did announce 10 things, and it's, you know, Dishonored 2, Quake, Elder Scrolls Legends, Fallout 4, Skyrim Remastered, Prey, Doom DLC, and the Fallout 4 VR. So they got 8 out of 10 there, so far, that's the best one in terms of what I'm interested in. Sorry. Being up until 4 in the morning, obviously I'm not well rested, so I'm still a bit groggy, because it's 1 in the afternoon, and, well, like I said, I The Sony one finished at 3:30 in the morning, and I didn't get to sleep till 4, so you can understand that I'm quite literally dressed up. The next one, Microsoft. They've announced the Xbox One S, starting at it's $299. Some They looked in the stream that I was watching, because obviously the NerdCube stream. Apparently, that's for the base model for the 500 GB console. If you want the 2 TB one, you're paying 400. So it's pretty much it's just a smaller Xbox One, which would be useful for me to get, but I kind of would have to have my own place before I get my own all the consoles, because I literally don't have space downstairs. There's a Wii in there, there's a PS4 in there, and then there's literally no more space actually to connect anything because of the way we have it set up. After that, I put Cog of Battle 4, which, I was being funny. It's Gears of War 4. Yeah, I don't have anything more to say about that, as I really couldn't get into the Gears of War franchise. I really couldn't. Except that they announced something called Microsoft Play Anywhere. Now, this is the funny thing about Microsoft One. None of them were Xbox exclusives. They were Xbox and Windows 10 exclusives, which is handy because I'm on a Windows 10 PC, which means a lot of these new games I can actually play and maybe do for the channel. So, like I said, if you got games for me to play, make sure they're on PC. This makes it easier, because if it's Windows 10 exclusive, that does mean I can play it because I'm on a Windows 10 PC. But yeah, like I said, please don't. And don't make me do Gears of War, please. I really don't like those games. I always just found them dull. Next one, Killer Instinct. I'm trying to remember what Killer Instinct was. I'm pretty sure I've played it before back in the day, but I believe it's a fighting game where you can fight as like a werewolf against a raptor or something, if I remember correctly. Or is that Primal Rage? I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, Killer Instinct. I don't have much more to say about this, because unfortunately I had to watch this one on demand, so I was kind of having to keep glancing back and forward just to make sure that the other stream hadn't started. Forza Horizon 3. I do like the racing games, so yeah, Forza. They done more on ReCore. They done some coverage on Final Fantasy 15. ReCore, it's kind of a weird game. It's kind of hard to explain. You have like this little robot dog that follows around, but if it dies, you can take out its core, which is like its brain, and put it into another creature. So you could like go, oh, I don't want a dog anymore, I want a dragon, and shove it in. I don't think there's actually dragons in the game, but it's kind of that idea. They done some stuff on the Division. We'll get into that later. Battlefield 1 again. I'd already covered that in the EA one. Some updates for the Xbox One. I couldn't really follow. It looks like they're just doing like small updates. It's like, oh yeah, you can now play like background music and stuff. It's just like, that should have been stuff that you could been able to do since launch. Then they announced more stuff for Minecraft Windows 10 Edition, and this is what bugged me, because they're just like, oh yeah, you can put skin packs now, which are in-app purchases. If you don't know, Windows 10 Edition in Minecraft, you have to pay for skin packs. You have to pay for texture packs. Which, no, because, like, it's like, oh, here's the skins you can choose from. No, I want my own personalised custom skin. That's why I play Minecraft Legacy. Which, I'm assuming, well, I don't actually play Minecraft Legacy, I play modded Minecraft, but I haven't played Minecraft for a while. But yeah, now this one, I kind of lost focus here. They announced something from the makers of Limbo, but I missed what it was there, so I'm just going to gloss over that. They announced more for We Happy Few, which looks like a really freaking creepy game. Like, if that's available on PC, I might actually have to play that. That looks like a good game to play on my channel. So, maybe. Quent, they announced the card game from The Witcher is becoming a standalone game. Yeah. That one I don't understand. Tekken 7. I've always been a fan of the Tekken series, but I hope, for the love of God, that is not Xbox exclusive. Because back in the day, back when I actually played Tekken on the PS1, like Tekken 3, it was a PlayStation exclusive. And then they moved it to that, and then they kind of trailed off and seemed to go to Xbox exclusive. I haven't actually seen Tekken games for the PlayStation in a while. Then they announced Dead Rising 4. Uh, that one caught me completely out of the blue because I didn't think that they would do any more with the Dead Rising franchise, but it looks like they've gone back to what Dead Rising originally was, which is what made me like Dead Rising. Like, Dead Rising 1 was good. Dead Rising 2, the fact that you had to keep finding the Zombrex for your daughter, otherwise you'd fail your game, pissed me off. And I haven't played Dead Rising 3, but apparently it was a bit too serious. Dead Rising 4 looks like it's going back to the kind of happy-go-lucky fun time route of the first one, and I hope it does, because that's what that series needs. That's the problem when they take a game and they change it and change it and change it to the point where it's no longer what it was. They announced more on Scalebound. That looks like a game I might play. It looks interesting. It looks Monster Hunter meets Final Fantasy meets Beats by Dr. Dre. If you've seen the footage, you'll know what that Beats by Dr. Dre thing means. The fucking idiot protagonist with the... I'm hitting my mic with the headphones down here. What was that? Sea of Thieves? It's a kind of weird, piratey MMO cartoony style. Looks interesting, but the thing is, I don't play a lot of MMOs, so... Yeah. State of Decay 2? Didn't even realise there was a first one. So, I think that's not a game franchise I've actually ever heard of. Halo Wars 2, which was the Halo RTS, which apparently wasn't that good, so... I kind of fell behind with the Halo franchise as well after the Xbox 360, because I don't have an Xbox One. Which is a shame, because I did like the Halo franchise. That was like... Because I don't like first-person shooters, like, multiplayer, because, like, it was always annoying, but, like, getting on local times with my friends, playing the Halo one, because of the fact, like, it was set in a different world, you had, like, you can get the active camo and stuff pickups, and, like, I could just maul them down with a minigun. I wasn't very good at it, I'll admit, but I did like the Halo multiplayer. So it's good to know that a franchise is still alive, but the RTS one... And then they announced Project Scorpio, which is a new console, which can stream 4K. So we don't know if this is like the... It says Project Scorpio. The thing is though, because they kind of announced like, oh, it'll be in line with the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, I'm starting to think it's the Xbox One Elite. That's kind of what I'm getting there. It's going to be like a higher end Xbox One. I don't think it'll be a whole new Xbox console. After that, the PC Gaming Show. This was... I can't actually find it. I think actually I tried to... Oh no, there it is. Yeah, this was the one where last year we decided not to kind of thing. It was kind of crap. This year, the PC Gaming Show wasn't as good. They announced Dawn of War 3. I completely forgot about the Dawn of War franchise. Like, I have played Dawn of War, because, like, I'm a massive RTS player. I don't play StarCraft, unfortunately, but I do like RTS games. So, it is good to know that they are making a Warhammer one again. Then they announced a game called Oxygen Not Included, which looks very reminiscent of Don't Starve. In fact, it's from the same people. But it was they didn't show a lot of it, so it was kind of hard to guess what the game actually was. It looks like a kind of a space survival game set in the sort of same sort of style as Don't Starve. So it's pretty much Don't Starve in space. They are making some mods for Ark Survival Evolved official mods. Now, I don't play survival games like that, but like apparently in this one you can now play... There's a mod where you can play as like wolves or ants. Like there's a mod they're making official where you can play as animals, which is interesting, but eh. Then they announced a game called Giant Cop, which is a VR game. Which this is why I want VR, because it's just like a, oh, you're a, oh, they're protesting, we don't want a giant cop in the city, have a bus. That was actually some of the B-roll footage they showed. It was there was protesters around your feet because you're a giant cop. So they were just like, oh, I don't want the protesters. Oh, there's a bus. Like that's what I like about VR. I don't want like serious VR games all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would like some serious VR games, like deeply atmospheric ones which aren't horror, because I'm bad with horror. Like VR horror would probably actually give me nightmares. So, but like cookie games like that, just where you're just like, destroy a city. That's what I want VR for. But I doubt they'll be doing that for PSVR, and I know for a fact they won't be doing that for Gear VR, because you won't have any. Actually, I'm slightly curious how Gear VR gaming would work. Apart from, I'm assuming that like a Bluetooth controller. So, well, I'll see when I get it, because I am actually planning on getting the Gear VR in December, when I can update my phone to the Samsung Galaxy that you need to run it. Then they announced, let's see now, what else? They announced Mountain Blade 2. Never a game franchise I followed, so can't really say much about it, because the problem with the PC gaming show was, like, their audio was well off. You couldn't really make, even if you went to the official stream, you couldn't really make out what they were saying, and they were blasting through it a bit too quickly. A game called The Surge. Couldn't really make out what that was either. Lawbreakers looks like another thing similar to TF2. New AMD graphics cards, which will be handy because, like I said, I need a new graphics card for my PC if I want to run VR. Like, I want to see if I can call up the specs for the OS VR, because then the non-Oculus exclusive VR games I could actually play. So yeah, Series Sam VR. They announced Series Sam VR. That's not a thing. Unfortunately, a lot of the VR games they announced here were possible Oculus exclusives, which is annoying. That's another thing that annoyed me. If anyone from Oculus ever sees this video, I don't care if it's like 10 years in the future and you've announced like the Oculus freaking Void, and that it shouldn't, if it's a device that you have to connect to a PC, not a console, but a PC, don't make it exclusive. Because, like, no one's going to buy, like, a Vive. Like, a Vive is allowed the exclusives just physically because of what it is you walk around. Like, that's not exclusive for the exclusivity sake. That's exclusive for the sake of that's the only device that would be able to run this sort of thing. But like a sitting experience, like a sitting in this, I could put on an Oculus, I could put on a Vive, I could put on an OS VR, I could put on fucking Google Cardboard. Well, not Google Cardboard because that runs on phone. But if it is a VR headset connected to a PC, it should be, your VR game should be able to run on any one of those VR headsets. Because I'm not spending £300 on an Oculus and then £700 on a Vive, where I could just spend the money on the Vive, or just spend money on the Oculus. Honestly, like I said, my choice is probably Oculus anyway, but hey. Also, kindly please put in support for the Oculus for AMD cards, please? Like AMD processors. They also announced the Zen processor, which is also useful for me if Oculus does support that, because it is saying I need a new processor. The only problem being is, right now the only processor they support is Intel, and I've got an AMD processor, which means I would also have to get a whole new motherboard for the socket. So, Hopefully, I'll need to check again after this, but it does look like I'm... Sorry, I just looked over and noticed my Audacity thing just freeze, but it's recording again now, so it's fine. Yeah, after that, they announced a game called Vampire. Looks interesting. You play as a vampire, teleport around. Kind of that sort of thing. But once again, the PC gaming show was kind of just throwing things at you quickly, so like most of the stuff that you heard was like on the AMD cards or the processor or just in fact this actually overran, so I don't even know what was announced at the end. Like after this way, no, the Ubisoft one on, and I had to go to the Ubisoft one. Well, I say I had to go to the Ubisoft one. I had to watch the stream switch over to the Ubisoft one because I'm not in Los Angeles. Then they announced Killing Floor 2, new stuff for that. They announced one called Tyranny, which kind of looked interesting, but once again couldn't really follow much. Something called Observer. That looked like a weird kind of psychological horror game, sort of in the vein of Soma. So I don't know what I'm going to do that. And then one called Drop Zone. I don't know. I can't remember what Drop Zone was. Honestly, like, I couldn't remember. I kind of zoned out at this point. One called Turing Test, which kind of looks like a Portal sort of thing, which could be interesting as well. Then one called Overland. I didn't follow much about that. And then one called Dual Universe, which is like a massive open world space game, which is a single shared universe, so all players, you know, a la Star Citizen, or Elite Dangerous, or this has been done before. The only difference being is you can build your own ships a la Space Engineers. But like I said, PC gaming show I didn't really follow because it's usually the same crap. Ubisoft. That was an interesting one. They switched over to Just Dance 2017 and Queens Don't Stop Me Now. Then they... So, but I'm not into the Just Dance thing, so meh. Yeah, PC gaming show, and the Microsoft ones both scored zeros, because Microsoft one, I'm more into indie games, and the fact that those games won't be on Steam, you have to buy those off the Microsoft store, is kind of shitty. And the PC gaming show it's maybe the cards, but yeah. Ubisoft, Ghost Recon Wildlands on March 7th next year. Kind of, honestly, like they said on the Nerdscube stream, it was like an amalgam of all their games, but when you looked at like some of the gameplay, you had like drones, and then you had it did look like they just kind of got all bits of their games and just kind of mashed it together, and that thing that fell out was Ghost Recon Wildlands. But it must admit, it does actually look like quite an interesting game to play, so maybe. The next thing they announced was, naturally, this isn't new, this was announced last year as well, the Fractured But Whole, which is obviously a South Park game, and the obvious play on words. Kind of interesting. I wouldn't play the South Park game on my channel just because obviously it's South Park. Like, obviously I'm not gonna keep my channel child friendly because obviously I swear a fucking lot. But there's a point where I'm just all it would take is for them to put something in that game that wasn't safe for YouTube, because I don't have the editing software to cut that to the point where it would still be in the game so you know what's going on and there isn't just a random cut in the video. Then they announced more on the Division. Honestly, at this point I don't care about the Division. I really don't. Then they announced Eagle... I put Eagle Flight, but I think the actual game was called Eagle Fight, which was a VR game where you fly around as an eagle having to pick up rabbits in what looked like a dystopian Paris. Like, Paris after humans had died out and that, and you were just flying around. But my mind goes, no, you could have done that much better with another game rather than flying around as an eagle. That doesn't make sense. But the next VR game they announced was Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now, I'm a little bit of a Trekkie. Like, I've only watched Deep Space Nine. Oh god, I am really getting stuffed up, aren't I? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so the next thing announced was Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now I'm a little bit of a Trekkie. I've only watched Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the J.J. Abrams one, and the Next Generation. I haven't actually seen any of the original one, but this is set in the J.J. Abrams verse. Um, I want this to be PSVR because, like I said again, I don't have the fucking physical requirements or an Oculus. Like PSVR, I just need to buy the headset. With the Oculus, I need to buy a new graphics card and everything. Uh, but it's you get to be the bridge crew on Federation ship. Like you can be a captain, you can be the engineer, but you do it with friends. But not like it's not an MMO. You can do it with a local group of friends. And considering I know other friends that would be interested in this, I do want this game. But once again, if it's not for PSVR or Gear VR, which once again I highly doubt because mobile phone, yeah. Then they announced For Honor again. It's a weird game. It's like history's greatest warriors. Honestly, it's kind of hard to follow what's going on, but it honestly it doesn't look like it doesn't look like something I'd be interested in. But it comes out on the 2nd February, so. Then they announced Grow Home 2. Now I played Grow Home came onto the PS Plus store, which means you got it. If you had PS Plus, you got it for free that month. And I downloaded it and played it, and I fell in love with the game. I love Grow Home. So the fact that they're making a second one is brilliant. And then they announced something as well, which was quite interesting, because it's pretty much they've done a meta franchise here. Now, I'm assuming people who've seen the channel have probably heard of Far Cry Blood Dragon, which is they took Far Cry, put Blood Dragon in it, and just made it freaking nuts. They've announced Trials of the Blood Dragon, which is Blood Dragon Trials Fusion. So, yeah. It's kind of what could they do Blood Dragon of next? That was kind of the running joke in the stream that I was watching. But yeah, it looks, I know I've never played Trials, I probably wouldn't play Trials, but it is quite interesting what they've done there. Then they've done some stuff in the Assassin's Creed movie that's coming out later this year. Then they announced Watch Dogs 2, which does look interesting. I haven't played Watch Dogs 1 because I didn't have the PS3. And I can't remember if it was out on the PS4. But Watch Dogs 2 would be an interesting one to see. I would like that. So yeah. Then they may have teased that there was going to be a Watch Dogs film. So yeah. And then they announced Steep, which is kind of an open world skiing game and snowboarding and paragliding and wingsuiting. Once again, it's good to know because like one of the few sports games I'll play is either like racing games or like snowboarding, skiing, because I do like it, and the fact that in the thing they showed like you could go back and like watch what you done on this track that you done, like jumping over cliffs and stuff. So if you wipe out, you can watch back what you done, and then they had it like where you can just fly around and stuff. So it'd be an interesting game to have. After that was right. So after that was Sony's one. They announced God of War, but it's not set in the Greek mythology. It's set in Norse mythology, which is interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Then they announced Days Gone. It looks like just another zombie survival game. I really couldn't give a shit. Then they announced Last Guardian. It's out on October 25th. Last Guardian, which was supposed to be a release title for the PS3, finally has a release date. So if they delay it now, they are going to be in massive trouble because that will piss a lot of people off. And then they announced, more on Horizon Zero Dawn, which is that Robo Dinosaur game. Detroit Become Human. That looks like quite an interesting game as well. Might play that. Can't play it on the channel. That's the thing. If they're PlayStation exclusive, I can't play it on the channel because I don't have a capture card from PS4. That's the problem. Then they announced Resident Evil 7, I'm not a fan of Resident Evil, and the fact that they put it into VR freaks me the hell out. Then they announced one called Farpoint, which is another VR game. Then they done the X-Wing VR mission for Star Wars Battlefront, so we found out what the PSVR Star Wars was. That is something I would want to buy a PSVR for. Then Batman Arkham VR, I don't know how that is. They announced stuff on Final Fantasy 15. They've made a fucking VR tie-in for Final Fantasy. How would you tie in Final Fantasy, which is typically a third-person game, into VR? How? Fuck off, Sony. Just get the little fox thing, Carbuncle, from the demo. Just give me that in the game, and preferably release it as a plushie. I want a Carbuncle plushie. Then they announced COD Infinite Warfare. just segue away from that. But yeah, seriously, I don't understand how they would tie Final Fantasy into VR. That one did confuse me. But I am looking forward to Final Fantasy 15. I am. And I am hoping that Carbuncle, the little fox from the demo, does make an appearance again, because it was adorable. But yeah, then after that, we'll get onto that. And then they announced COD Infinite Warfare, which looks interesting because they've got like zero-G fight sequence. That might make me play a COD game again. Then they announced COD 4 Remastered. They're just updating the graphics from COD 4. And then came their big announcement with Crash Bandicoot. They are remastering 1, 2, and 3. The original Crash Bandicoot games for the PS1, they're redoing on the PS4. Now, unfortunately, after I saw what Crash Bandicoot looked like in their next announcement, where he's appearing in Skylanders, I hope he doesn't look like that, because one thing annoys me is what they done to Spyro in Skylanders, and Crash Bandicoot now in Skylanders. Just give Spyro back to Insomniac, or hell, even Chrome, who done The Legend of Spyro. I'd take that over Skylanders. And give Crash Bandicoot back to Naughty Dog. And let them do it. Because, honestly, the Skylanders thing, from a marketing standpoint, where, oh, you need this game, oh, you want to play that character, you have to buy the toy. From a marketing standpoint, that is genius. Evil, but genius. But from a gameplay standpoint, it's a sort of a, no, that isn't what the games originally were. At that, and the fact that Spyro in Skylanders looks terrible compared to what he looked like in the original games, or hell, like even I said, Legend of Spyro. And Crash looks terrible in Skylanders as well. It doesn't look right. Like that's why I'm hoping that the remastered one, it doesn't look like that, because after Naughty Dog gave away Crash, when they remade Crash, it just didn't look right. After that, they announced the LEGO Star Wars Force Awakens. Couldn't really care. Then they done Death Stranding, which is a Hideo Kojima game. Even after watching this, and they went silent so I could hear what they're going on, I still have no fucking idea what this game is. Honestly. It's kind of hard to explain, honestly. I don't know. I don't know how to explain Death Stranding at all. And then the last announcement was an Insomniac Spider-Man game. Sorry, not Spider game. Spider-Man game. Now, I do like Insomniac as a company, because they made the original Spyro, like I was saying, one of my favourite games from my childhood. And then they made Ratchet and Clank, which from the PS2 era was my favourite game from the PS2 era. And then the reboot in the PS4. They also made Sunset Overdrive, but I haven't played that because I don't have an Xbox One. But yeah, it looks really, really interesting, the fact that they're making a Spider-Man game. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But after that, that was it. Like I said, overall, like, even with the ones I would pay attention for, there's not a lot there. Hopefully we get some big announcements next year for E3. In fact, if you see this video, put your comments in below what you would want to see from E3 2017. Because, hell, it's mid-season It's mid-year 2016 now, so we've got a year to go before E3, and hell, they might throw a curveball and announce stuff at Gamescom. I don't know if Gamescom's been yet, actually. And like other gaming events throughout the year, so we might get stuff that I want for 2017's E3 sooner. Like, I doubt they're going to announce Valenwood. That's a bit of a way off yet, I think, because they only done Fallout 4 last year, and Skyrim came out in 2011. So what would that be? 4 years. So that'd be probably 2019 at the earliest, I would say, before we got another Elder Scrolls game that wasn't TSO Online. Why do you keep saying TSO? TSO stands for The Scrolls Online. TESO. TESO. That's what it is. That's what it should be saying. And stuff like that. Also, I kind of want them to announce a new Spyro game that isn't Skylanders, a new Crash Bandicoot game, a whole new Crash Bandicoot game, stuff like that. But overall, that's it, guys. That was E3 this year. In fact, the funny thing is, like, I didn't, like I said, I missed the Square Enix one, but it said Square Enix DXX, so I'm assuming it wasn't a proper press conference. But they didn't announce anything more on Kingdom Hearts, or Final Fantasy VII Remaster, or the World of Final Fantasy, all this stuff that was announced last year. That was completely glossed over from all of like the big ones, PC Gaming, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo isn't doing one this year. Like, Nintendo, at 5:30 tonight, they start 24 hours of Treehouse. I am not staying up and watching 24 hours of bullshit, which is what the Treehouse usually is. Like, the press conference, at least, is the main announcements condensed. And I'm kind of surprised that they aren't as well, because, like, there's obviously rumours of the NX. There's Pokemon Sun and Moon coming out. I believe Pokken's already out, so that's not the big announcement. So I suppose they only had the NX and then Pokemon Sun and Moon. But with Sun and Moon, they could at least say, okay, here are the starters, which we already know. It's Poplio, Rowlet, and Litten, I believe. And then they could have announced like what their evolves are, but then again, that wouldn't take up an hour and a half, or hell, even an hour digital press event. So unfortunately, it looks like Nintendo probably either doesn't have a lot to announce, or they're going to throw a big curveball at us next year. Anyway, guys, I will leave this here. Just before I finish, if you have watched this long, because this video is pushing, at recording, pushing nigh on 50 minutes, I will have to edit. You will notice there will be a little bit of edits, so it'll be slightly shorter. But the gameplay videos, I was supposed to be recording some this week. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's only Tuesday, so I've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I've still got 4 days to go, but I do have other things I need to do, unfortunately, which means I can't do what I was going to do. So my original idea was there was going to be, you would get a video on Sunday telling you what I was going to be doing that week, and then on Monday would have been like the main game. Like, I would play a game that I got from Steam, and then Wednesday would be Web Browser Wednesday, which would have been like GeoGuessr, Would You Rather, and Will You Press the Button. Those were the three, because then it would be Where in the World Wednesdays, Would You Rather Wednesdays, and Will You Press the Button Wednesdays. And then I might have put in Happy Wheels Wednesdays, because that would have technically fit in as well. That would have been that. And then the one on Friday would have been Furry Fridays, which would have been games that you can get on Steam that would appeal to the furry fandom. Stuff like Dusk and Elysian Tale, or Mellow, stuff like that, you know? But right now, because of the way I can record, I can only record the web browser Wednesdays, because with the web browser one, that's quick and easy to record. Camera, what are you doing? Stop auto-focusing. I'm right here. Thank you. Sorry, I just saw the screen keep blurring and I'm just getting annoyed. But yeah, so for the foreseeable future, it will be only small web browser games like GeoGuessr and stuff. I will try and get other games out as I can, but those will be the buffer that I can record. Stop it. So that's pretty much all I can record. After that, I'm the Loot Anime and Loot Crate. They're coming back. I got the Loot Anime yesterday, but didn't have time to record it, just to prove that I got it. These are the new Loot Anime boxes. See, I am still getting them. This was a T-shirt, a doormat of all things, a new mascot for the channel. Because if you look at the eyes, it's a little furry ball of rage. I find it funny that they sent me that, but yeah, so pretty much after, like, I know this is the E3 thing and I'm kind of rambling on about other things on the channel, it's just kind of important to know that I am trying to get the channel back up and running. I am, but it's going to take a little while, okay? So, anyway guys, I will leave this recording here, and I will see you guys in the next video, and have a good one.